Hey, everybody, and welcome to the ComaCast. We thank you for joining us for a very exciting episode, Matt. I'm excited about this one because we're going to be talking about several things. We're going to be talking about some of the things that are affecting members of our trans community. We're also going to be talking about kind of being stuck in boxes, male, female boxes, and how even though as we get older, sometimes the things that we've learned or just grew up with, we kind of still associate with those particular boxes. But what makes it even more exciting, though, is we are joined by one of my friends, Bree. Hey.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
How long have y'all known each other before before the games get started? So we know here.
Yeah, about 7-ish years.
I think so.
8 years. Yeah.
So it's been
Time flies.
quite a while. We first met on Facebook, as people do. But we met on Facebook because we had friends in common in Orlando, Disney World, the gay mecca.
Yes. Where typically, even if you don't know someone, you have like between 14 and 20 mutual friends on Facebook.
Yeah.
So
there's not very many degrees of separation there.
No,
Like, at all.
there's
In like
not.
any sense.
No, especially when people are like, hey, like that was, they're my, fourth ex-boyfriend. It's like, okay, well now they're my boyfriend.
Right.
Right.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That is
Not
the
if there weren't
struggle.
many options.
That is the struggle, especially if you live there. But also the thing is, if you visit there, it's like fresh meat because everybody already knows everybody in Orlando. So anytime anyone new visits, it's like everybody
well, the second
wants.
you
It's
hop
like-
off the plane, you get on Grindr.
Oh my God. It's so true. It's so true. But I've made a lot of friends. We would go to the Christmas parties and Halloween parties. That was like our thing. That's when I would visit really is
Love that.
Halloween and Christmas parties. And so we would like do some kind of like similar matching thing. So we did like some gender bent costumes. And if you've listened to our podcast, Annie, Matt used to work at Disney and live in Orlando. And Bree also used to live in Orlando and work at Disney World. So before we even started this show recording, we've been talking about Disney nonstop. Who knows? Maybe in the future we're gonna have to just like do a whole Disney episode because there's a lot.
I mean,
There's
I'm
a lot.
here for it. I have so many stories.
Podcasting from the Lone Star State in Southern California, you're listening to the Coma Podcast with Cody and Matt.
We're going to get to know Bree a little bit in just a minute, but we're going to start off with the icebreakers, and that is we're going to play a game. We're going to play the Newlywed Game. And no, we're not married, but it's a Newlywed Game friend edition.
Who would your spouse say is the better catch? Okay. Cody says Bree. And me. Oh! What is your spouse's guilty pleasure? All right, Cody, what's the answer?
Reality
Real
TV.
Housewives.
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah. What did Cody wear on y'all's first, I guess, hangout? Do you remember? Is it the same thing?
Queen of Hearts.
Yeah.
Oh.
He had, I think it was a white button up and then a black vest that you put the heart,
Mhm.
you ironed them on, I think.
That is.
And then the white shirt had like poofy ends.
Yeah.
Did you have the
the
ruffles?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. What does your spouse's sexiest pajamas look like? Like what? All I can think is
Cody doesn't wear pajamas.
right.
I get a point.
Would your spouse rather be an astronaut, a sailor, or a backup singer?
Backup singer.
Yes.
I just
now we're
picture you being like Lizzie McGuire.
I am Lizzie McGuire. Thank you.
Your spouse has the day off and an empty house. How does your spouse spend the day?
I don't feel comfortable answering this question.
Bree, what is your answer?
Self-care.
which one of you is more likely to ignore the check engine light? And then the second one is to tell a white lie. Who is more likely to tell a white lie to avoid hurting someone's feelings?
So for the check engine light, I put me because Cody's more responsible. And then Cody for white lie.
That's what I chose. Oh my gosh, it's tied.
So
See, we basically just know each other so well.
Yeah.
You know.
So that's the thing. We haven't seen each other actually in like a few years. So I used to go to Orlando a lot, and then life happened. Bree moved, and then we just haven't seen each other. But despite that, see, this is what we talk about when friendship continues on. You don't have to chat every single day because look, we still know anything and everything about each other. So I came to know you in Orlando, but kind of just like briefly give a highlight of who you are.
Hello, my name is Brie. As we said, I've known Cody for like 7-8 years or so. I am a trans woman. So when Cody and I first met, I was a man, Maury. It was a totally different life. But so I think like maybe a year into us knowing each other.
Yeah, about a year.
Then I came out as trans and kind of started my journey. And so Cody has been able to see me throughout the whole experience. And then a few months in, then I got like a lot of surgery done. And Cody was kind of able to see like throughout that whole journey. And we actually got together like just a couple months after I had like total facial reconstructive surgery. And yeah, that was honestly the last time that he saw me in person. And that was like 6 years ago. So.
Oh, wow. It's been a while.
It has.
I think well, y'all are a lot closer now. I mean, I feel like some catch up is
in some ways. Cody was actually in love with me for like the longest time. And I so badly just wanted to love him back. But like we were just really great friends. And but Cody was like, you let me know and I'll drop everything. And you know, now things have changed. But yeah, we were really, really close. So we met when I was working in Disney. And I worked in first I started merchandise, and then I went into entertainment, cosmetology, and yeah. So then I left there, and I've been working as a makeup artist, and I just started my own business doing permanent makeup.
So we're going to be talking about, as we mentioned earlier, some of the things that affect members of the trans community, and also more specifically talking about kind of being put into these boxes, male, female, and kind of growing up through that lens of those particular genders. But we'll be talking all of that coming up next. We are going to be talking about today being put into different boxes. And me and Bree had talked about a little bit beforehand about how, you know, getting caught up in this world that we live in and how we grow up where certain things are male, certain things are female. So it could be colors, clothing, personalities, and the way you live your life. Like men are supposed to be macho and women are supposed to be demure, and how that really affects people as you grow older. Demure.
Yeah, that's a good word. I see you.
So shy.
and how it just affects people as they grow older. What are some of those boxes that you've had to deal with within this setup that we have in this world, within your own life?
Yeah. So just growing up as, you know, a boy, I, you know, was definitely more like feminine in certain aspects. Even at McDonald's, you know, I wanted the girl toy. I wanted the Barbies. I didn't want to get the car. I wanted to, you know, wear this for Halloween and not that, or, you know, even things as far as school shoes for school. I remember going to like a famous footwear or whatever, and I saw these Skechers that I really liked. they were black and red, and I was like, yes, these are so great. This is what I want for like first day of school. I'm gonna be looking so great. And so my mom asked the guy working, like, oh, can we get these in his size? And the guy's like, those are women's shoes. Like, boys' shoes are over there. And I'm like, they're just shoes. But, you know, then my mom's like, oh, okay, yeah, like, that's fine. Like, let's go and look over here at these boys' shoes for you. And I didn't like any of them. And it was just, I think about that all the time. And I'm just like, why are things gendered? You know, especially with transitioning, it's like, that's just so scary because, you know, guys are supposed to look a certain way, girls are supposed to look a certain way. And I felt like I didn't look the way that I needed to as a girl in order to be accepted in society. But after, like, once I started my transition, then I was like, okay, now I need to be like hyper feminine. I need to overcompensate for my like masculine traits or my masculine features, that I just needed to be this like hyper feminine like idea of what a woman is. So I got like super long extensions. I wore dresses every day. I wore heels every day, like a full face of makeup. That was just what I felt like I needed to do to be a girl. I remember even going to Magic Kingdom with Cody, and I was wearing like a sweater dress in the middle of the summer. But I was like, because that was the only dress that like I had that was fitting me at the moment that I felt comfortable in. And so there I was in the heat with like this sweater, like fitted sweater dress. And it was just awful that I felt like that's what I needed. But I also had, you know, a couple of years later, I had a pretty negative relationship where he was a trans man, and he had the same kind of mindset that like, okay, I need to be hyper masculine, hyper like macho all the time to be valid as a man. And he wanted to be in this like straight passing relationship, and he needed me to look super feminine all the time. And we were going to like a family party for St. Patrick's Day. And he's like, what, you're not wearing any makeup? I'm like, no, I just wanted to go. I didn't think I needed to wear makeup. But he's like, oh, okay. I mean, you're going to be with family. Like, I thought you would want to look good. And I'm like, yeah. So it was just very, like, it was toxic boxes that it was like, okay, if it's, you know, a party that I need to look feminine, I need to have my extensions in, I need to have all my makeup on, I need to be wearing a dress, I need to have my nails done, whatever. It took me a while, but after realizing like, you know, I'm perfectly valid in my femininity and in my identity, regardless of how I look or what I'm wearing or whatever. So I took like a huge step, especially as like a trans woman, feeling that like I need to look feminine all the time, that I cut off all my hair. I had like a skin tight fade, like all around, like short spiky hair on top. I just cut all my hair off after growing out for 5 years. And then I, you know, was wearing sports bras, and I wore button ups, and I bought these like really cute heeled Timberland boots. And I had like 6 different snapbacks that I like wore it backwards with like my shave on the sides and my little button up. And I thought I looked so great. And, but it was scary because I had always loved looking at like women with short hair. And I thought, oh my gosh, they look so great. Like, I wish I could have that kind of like androgynous look, but I couldn't, because if I had short hair, I would look like a little boy and I wouldn't be valid anymore. But after cutting my hair, I only got called sir once, and it was from the back. And then when they saw me, like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I didn't know. Like, I got called a lesbian more than I got called like a boy or like, you know, any kind of trans slur or whatever. Which, I mean, it was kind of super validating. Like, people don't think I'm a boy. They don't think I'm like a trans woman. They thought I was a gay woman. And I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, I mean, that's rude, but thank you. But it was just so empowering, because I'm like, why did I go from stuffing myself in this little, like, in this blue box of like, boys do this, and you know, you have to, that's how it is. And then to jump into the opposite spectrum of like, okay, well, if I'm going to be a girl, then this is exactly how I need to look. This is how I need to act.
What are some of the things that helped you kind of break out of thinking that way? Obviously, like you said, day to day, there still can be times when you like kind of fall back into that. Mm-hmm. But when it kind of helped you break out of that mold of, you know, thinking that way?
Definitely after a lot of like self-reflection, realizing that like the way that I was thinking was like kind of dumb. And after, you know, like thinking about like, you know, a non-binary identity, and, you know, just ways that like you don't have to be like just one thing. And like for me, feeling very like open, and, you know, after years of like suppressing and kind of hating like the masculine parts about myself, because I was like, oh, I can't have that. I can't do that. I can't be that. Like, I made the decision to transition. And so now I need to be fully happy just this one way, you know? Just so realizing that, like, you know, you can do whatever you want to do, but at the end of the day, like, you know, if you call yourself a girl, then regardless of how you look, you're a girl. If you call yourself a boy, regardless of like what you do, like, you're still a boy. And at the end of the day, like, if you feel comfortable and confident in yourself, then that's really all that matters.
I think also maybe a good thing is also to surround yourself with people who accept you for who you are, and, you know, regardless of what you wear or this and that we've gendered, that, you know, that helps also in your decision making and feeling more comfortable if you have people around you, I guess, that also have like-minded thoughts as opposed to opposite thoughts.
I feel like that goes for like everyone. Like, I mean, even in just the gay community, you have like masks and femmes, you know what I mean? So you can't have, and like some people like only date certain criteria of gay, you know?
Right.
So it's like, if this masculine guy's like, oh, I want to date, like, you know, I only like more feminine guys, but then he decides he wants to like grow out his facial hair, or he like, you know, takes up like softball, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, then they're like, oh, like, why are you doing that? Like, why are you changing? Like, that's not who I want to date anymore. Or, you know, vice versa. Like, you know, a more masculine guy that's like, hey, I want to do drag. And then it's like, oh no, like, you can't do that, because that's not like the label you put on yourself, that you have to abide by everything in that label. What always blows my mind is like, especially in like the cis straight male community, that so many people feel like they have to be a certain way, or they're like not a man anymore. You know, it's like, it's feminine for them to show emotion when they're not like just with their partner. Like, and how many movies they show these guys that are like all rough and whatever with like their boys, but then they go back to their girlfriends and they're like, I want to be the little spoon. It's like, oh, but don't tell my friend that. Like, why? Everybody likes to be held.
When you think about it, you know, gendering of thing goes almost everything. I wasn't even thinking about it, like y'all are saying, the shoes, the belts, the shirts, the jeans, things that you're not even thinking about, because a lot of people at first think about like just colors and like toys initially. Even like Disney, they name their movies something that's more just generic, like Tangled, instead of something Rapunzel, because they want boys to also go see the movie as well. And so, marketing wise, they've made a movie that's more generic in title as opposed to what the storyline kind of basically is, because they're afraid that boys won't see it. But it doesn't make any sense.
I grew up with a stepsister who was Miss Princess, so I saw every movie. But I remember not understanding why little girls got like all these movies, like all their stores had like racks and racks of clothes, and then the boys section is like, what is that?
Hot Wheels.
Right. And don't get me wrong, I loved Hot Wheels, but like she had like all these cool toys, and I'm over here with like,
I had a bunch of like little dolls, and I called them people because I couldn't say I was playing with the doll. So I'm like, oh, like let's go play people, because like just to get like, my parents on board, or to like make myself feel validated in the toys I wanted to play with when I was a child. And
right. And as a child, you were aware of that.
Yeah, like my parents now are so fantastic. Like they're the most accepting. They're so loving. Like they're absolutely wonderful. They're like so happy and proud of me all the time. But they kind of raised me how they were raised, in a sense. Like they were told that, boys do this, girls do this. Like, especially, my father is very like, he's very manly. He's very macho. He's very like, he was super strict growing up, and told me many times, like, I can't do this. I can't play with that. I can't do this. Like, I really wanted to get into gymnastics when I was a kid. And luckily I was able to, but every Christmas, every birthday, I would get, a football. I would get a basketball. Like, no, this is what boys are supposed to be playing with. This is what boys are supposed to be doing. Like, don't like you're not a girl, you're a boy. Like, boys don't do that. Boys do this. Or like, like, toughen up, be a man. Like, how many times have we heard that growing up?
Oh,
like,
God. Yeah.
Like, now my dad tells me, like, you need a bigger shirt, or like, pull your shirt up. Like, like he's
like, girl, don't like, show those goods.
2 daughters. Right. Yeah. Just like the typical like dad of 2 daughters. Like, what are you wearing? Like, you can't wear that out.
When was the point that you like felt comfortable, like accepting at the time that you were gay, and then you could wear or do whatever? Was it younger on, or was it later on in your life?
I definitely like went right on that line for quite a while. I was like the emo kid in high school, and so I was like, oh, now I can like it's acceptable for me to wear makeup or like paint my nails because I'm emo, or like I can spend more time on my hair. I can grow my hair out because it's like this fad, and that's acceptable.
Don't forget to cover your one
so
eye.
Definitely, I could barely see out of this eye, like, and it really messes up your vision if you do that for a long period of time. Like, I had my bangs from like way back here and like all over my face. It was rough, but I felt like that was more acceptable. I could like, color my hair however I wanted to, and I, could do this or do that. But then once I went to cosmetology school, I like wore eyeshadow to school, and everyone's like, wow, it looks so cool, even though it was like basically silver up to my brow. Like,
But the support is important.
It wasn't cool. Yes. But then when I would wear that like out, then, it wasn't acceptable anymore. Like, I went to the mall with my mom, and I had eyeshadow on, and she's like, everyone's staring at you. I'm like, so what? Like,
They're
let
fine.
them say, like, I feel great.
I can't imagine the
Right.
amount of ignorance that you have to encounter, just to get from where you started to where you're sitting here having a comfortable conversation with us.
I mean, a lot of people in the community are still like ignorant. You know what I mean? Like they grew up in this little like straight bubble, and then they're like, okay, now I'm gay. Now I'm in this like other bubble, but I still have my same like conservative values that I had before. And
Right.
like they shame other gay people that are like, no, like why are you wearing mascara right now? Like if I wanted to date a girl, I would date a girl. Like, and still have the mentality of like, oh well, now he just decided to be a girl. I actually got a lot of messages when I first came out as trans from gay men that were saying, wow, like what a waste. Like, oh, it's such
That's
a shame
horrifying.
because you were such a cute boy. Or like, different like inappropriate like sexual comments like, oh, like what a waste now. When people think of like trans women, they think of Caitlyn Jenner, who is like literally the last person that any trans person wants you to think of. Like she sucks. Like she's valid in her identity. She's a woman, like great for her, but no one likes her. Like, but people always relate her or like Chaz Bono. Like, okay, those are the only two trans people that like people know. And it's like,
why Caitlyn Jenner?
Not good representation.
Well, we want to thank Bree for joining us on this episode. We'll have her back. We'll talk about some other things. But I think this is a very insightful conversation on this particular topic. And of course, we can put all of her links up. And so you can follow her on Instagram and wherever else, because she has a great Instagram page. And basically she's a model, everybody. She's a model.
Oh my God. Stop it.
But, and also she has her little business starting up. So if you're in Colorado, go to her for all your like beauty needs. And you're going to be doing like little tattoo things. That's cool.
Yeah. So I'm doing like permanent makeup. So I do eyebrows, I do like lip blushing, like a natural lipstick, and then I'm also just doing makeup applications for like an everyday events. I'm also going to be doing drag makeup, and I'm now offering tiny tattoos, so like small fine line tattoos, and pretty soon I will be doing areola pigmentation, like nipple tattoos. So some things to come.
So exciting. Thank you again for joining us. And everybody, she'll be back. She'll be back. Yes. But until next week, we hope you all have a great week and weekend. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
So, hey guys, we want to remind everyone that you can keep in touch with us on all of our social media channels, whether that is Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. You can do all of that at the ComaCast.
And we definitely love to interact and hear from all of our listeners. All of this is not possible without you guys.